Every dollar you touch has two futures. The first disappears. It becomes a coffee, another online order, another Friday night. And by next month, you won't even remember where it went. The second future is invisible. That same dollar quietly begins working. It earns another dollar, then another, until one day it buys back something money usually can't: your freedom. The strange part, every dollar chooses one future, but you make the choice. This is the story of $1 and two completely different lives. Friday morning, your paycheck arrives. For one brief moment, every possibility still exists. Nothing has been spent. Nothing has been invested. Every dollar is waiting for instructions. Imagine, every dollar arrives, standing at a crossroads. One road leads toward today. The other quietly disappears into tomorrow. Most people never even notice. There are two roads. On the first road, life feels easy. Coffee, delivery apps, flash sales, one click, one swipe, one receipt. Every purchase feels small, until you realize your future was built from small decisions. The second road feels almost boring. Nobody applauds. Nothing exciting happens. A small investment, a quiet transfer. Then, patience. Day after day, year after year. Imagine, two identical people. Same age, same income, same dreams. The only difference is what each dollar becomes. One spends first, one invests first. At the beginning, they look exactly the same. 1 year passes, nothing dramatic. One has memories. The other has a small portfolio. Neither life looks extraordinary. That's why almost everyone quits here. 5 years later, the gap finally becomes visible. Not because one person earned more, because one person owned more. Time quietly joined one side. Investments are strange. They become employees that never sleep, never complain, never ask for a vacation. Every dollar can become another worker, building your future. The hardest part isn't saving money. It's believing something invisible is happening, because compounding whispers for years before it finally speaks. Tonight, another paycheck will arrive somewhere. Another dollar will stand at another crossroads. It won't decide where it goes. You will, because every dollar has two futures, and only one becomes your freedom. On a rainy Tuesday, you hold a $20 bill. It doesn't feel important. It's just $20. A pizza, 2 coffees, a movie rental, or the first brick of a future you'll one day stand on. The amount is small. The direction is everything. Imagine time splitting in two. In one future, the $20 disappears before sunset. In the other, it begins the longest journey of its life. Same person, same Tuesday, different tomorrow. Receipts are strange. They prove where your money went, but they never tell you where it could have gone. That's the second future. The one nobody prints. Investing looks boring until you realize you're planting something you'll never have to replant. Trees don't grow because you watch them. They grow because you leave them alone. Your neighbor buys a brand new luxury SUV. Everyone notices. You increase your monthly investment. Nobody notices. One purchase creates attention. The other creates options. The first dollar works alone. Then it hires another, then another. One day, your money becomes a team working while you sleep. Nobody asks how your investments are doing because nothing exciting is happening. And that's exactly why they're working. Wealth grows in silence. Luxury isn't always something you buy. Sometimes luxury is waking up without panic, saying no without fear, owning your next decision. 20 years pass, one ordinary day at a time. The receipts are gone. The coffee is forgotten. But the dollars that chose their second future are still working. Every dollar asks the same question. Will I disappear today? Or will I build tomorrow? The answer has never belonged to the dollar. It has always belonged to you. The strange thing about compounding is that it hides. For years, it looks like nothing. Then one day, you realize your money earned more this month than you saved. That's the moment. Time joins your team. Your friends spend the weekend chasing discounts. You spend yours reading, walking, thinking, learning. They believe money buys happiness. You've learned money can also buy time, and time quietly changes everything. Then, without warning, the market falls. Headlines shout, experts panic, prices turn red. Everyone asks, what should we do? You remember the promise you made years ago. Don't interrupt. The second future. A seed doesn't stop growing just because you can't see it. Neither does a great investment. Growth spends most of its life underground, hidden, patient, preparing. 10 years ago, you invested one small dollar. Today, that dollar has children, and those children are working too. That's the language of compounding. Money creating more money. Someone asks, what's your secret? They expect a shortcut, a trick, a lucky investment. Instead, you smile and answer, I gave my dollars enough time to choose their second future. One morning, your investment account earns more money than your paycheck for the week. You don't celebrate. You don't tell anyone. You simply make coffee because by now, extraordinary feels ordinary. Then you notice something unexpected. The account isn't the biggest change. You are. Years ago, you chased what looked expensive. Today, you protect what feels meaningful. Financial freedom doesn't arrive with applause. It arrives on an ordinary Tuesday when you realize you no longer fear tomorrow because thousands of tiny decisions are already protecting it. Every dollar still has two futures. One disappears before the weekends. The other quietly keeps working long after you've forgotten you ever owned it. The question was never what your money could become. The real question is what your choices will make you become. 25 years later, your portfolio crosses a number that once felt impossible, but something surprising happens. The number doesn't change you. It simply reveals who you've already become, because wealth was never built on the day the account became large. It was built on thousands of ordinary mornings. You walk into a coffee shop. The drink costs $8. Years ago, you only saw the price. Today, you see two futures. One lasts 15 minutes. The other could last for decades. Sometimes you still buy the coffee, but now it's a choice, not a habit. A young coworker asks you how you became so calm about money. They expect a secret investment. Instead, you tell them about the first $20 you almost spent. Looking back, it wasn't one big decision. It was one small decision, repeated until it became your identity. $1, one day, One habit, again and again. Your neighbors still don't know. Your friends still don't know. You never needed them to know, because the richest part of your life isn't your account. It's your peace. The greatest return wasn't measured in dollars. It was measured in mornings without stress, evenings without fear, and choices made because you wanted to, not because you had to. Years later, your nephew asks where he should begin. You don't show him your account. You hand him $20, and you say, "This dollar already has 2 futures. Choose carefully." The funny thing is that you barely remember the things you didn't buy, but you'll always remember the freedom they quietly purchased. Instead, every dollar asks the same question. Will I entertain you for a moment, or will I protect you for a lifetime? It has always been your decision. Every dollar has 2 futures, but so do you. One version spends without thinking. The other quietly builds a life that doesn't need to impress anyone, because real wealth isn't measured by what people see. It's measured by how little money controls your tomorrow. And that future begins with the very next dollar you choose. 30 years have passed. The account became larger than you ever imagined. But when you look back, the money isn't what you remember. You remember the first dollar that almost went the other way. People think you invested in the market. You didn't. You invested in patience. You invested in discipline. You invested in becoming someone who keeps promises to their future self. The money was simply the evidence. One afternoon, your grandson asks, "Grandpa, how did you become rich?" You smile. You reach into your wallet and hand him a single dollar, because every fortune begins looking exactly like this. Somewhere, right now, someone is holding $1. They think it's just $1. They cannot see the 2 futures waiting inside it. But now, you can. Tomorrow, another paycheck will arrive. Another dollar will wait for your decision. It won't ask for permission. It won't ask if you're ready. It will simply become whatever future you choose. So, choose carefully, because every dollar has 2 futures. And so, do you. If this story changed the way you think, subscribe and join us for the next chapter.